All right, so this is a working man blues style country blues jam. It's great for practicing chicken picking riffs over. And I've kind of centered the tutorial around the riff that we do over the 4 chord, which looks like this. Very versatile riff. That's over a D chord, but you can move it up 2 frets. Play it over an E chord if you wanted. Another 3 frets would get you over a G chord. Alright, so over the course of learning this tutorial, we're going to use bits and pieces of that a number of times, and by the end of it, the goal is to have that lick really hammered into our fingers and into our muscle memory so that we can pull that out in a performance situation, just kind of have it in our bag of tricks, so to speak. Alright, so let's start at the top of the jam where we've got this kind of chicken picking comping going on over the A chord. Alright, so we've got a number of things happening on our right hand. We've got the pick, that's on the A string. Then we've got second finger on the G string and third finger of our right hand on the B string. And we start with this. So pointed fingers on the 5th fret of G and B, hammers on to the 6th fret of G, open A string, and then ring finger on our left hand goes up to the G and the B string on the 7th fret. So we've got, and then we hit the A string again and go. So that's hammering on from the 7th fret of G and B up to 9th fret, 8th fret. So far. Then we come back down to the 7th fret. So far. One more pick on the open A string, and then we're going to do this little lick. So we're clucking just like we were here before, right? But we're focusing on this G string. 5 to 6 there on G. Then pull off from 7 to 5 on D. And then you can do 2 picks, 7, 6, pull off to 5 on A, pull off to open, and then you can pick it again on the 3rd fret. Hammer on to 4, 5th fret of low E, pull off, pick it again on the low E, and then pointer fingers right there to catch that 3rd fret with a bend. Alright, so that whole thing is nice and slow. Alright, then we're going to do that again exactly the same way until the very end. So we've already learned it. But this time we're going to end on that 5th fret of low E and just hold that out before we get into the D riff that we talked about earlier. Okay, so far we have this. Alright, then we get to this fun riff that we're going to play over the D chord. Let's get just this much first. So that's sliding into the 7th fret of B, excuse me. And then we're going to cluck the 10th fret of high E. And that is, by the way, how you figure out which chord to play this over. That's a D note, and so we're playing this over a D chord. So you can play this over any chord, but you want to make sure this pinky finger is starting on the note that you want to play the chord over. So if we're playing it over an E chord, we need to find an E note. Well, there's an E note, so we go. If you want to play it over a G chord, there's a G note, so we'd center it around there. But for now, we're going to learn it over the D. So far we have slide into 7th of B, cluck this 10th fret of high E, mute on the B string, 8th fret, pull off, 10th fret of B with the pick, and then back to the 7th fret of high E. Continuing on, we're going to go 10, 7 on B string, 9th fret of G, back to 7th fret of B, so. And then we're going to slide down from 9 to 7 on the G string. All right, so far we have this much. Continuing on, we'll do this. So we're going 5th fret of the B string, then cluck the 8th fret, pull off to 7, 5, 7th fret of G, back to B string, back to the G string, pull off to 5, over to the D string 7th fret, back to 5 of G. So far we have this. Okay, almost done here, coming down the home stretch. We're going to come back to the D string, 7th fret, slide down to 5, pull off to 3, 5th fret of A, then back to the D string, hammer on from 3 to 4, and back to that 5th fret of A where it ends. All right, nice and slow. Here's the riff. All right, a little faster. And a little faster yet. All right. Next, we go back to that rhythm comping that we were doing before. We already learned that. So we're doing the same one we did the second time at the beginning of the jam, where we just end on that 5th fret of low E. And then we get to the 5 chord, which then goes to the 4 chord. They're 1 measure each, so they're half as long as that D riff, but again, just to really pound this riff into our fingers, when we get to that E, we're going to do the same first half of the D riff, which was. So we're just going to do that over an E chord. So remember how we talked about that D note is where we start the riff if we want to play it over a D chord. So we're going to start it over an E chord now. And that's an E note on the 12th fret of high E. So we're going to do the exact same thing we already learned. And then your pointer finger's in position to slide from 6 to 7 on B and do it right back on the D chord when the band moves back to the D chord. So from before that, when we're comping on this A, to the E, D. Now to end it, we're going to do that same rhythm comping. But this time to end, we're going to hit an open low E string, and then an E7, 7th fret of A, 6th fret of D, 7th fret of G, and then slide it up to 12, 11, and 12 to end it on that A7. All right, I'm going to play through the entire jam one more time, nice and slow. Then we'll show it with the backing track, and then we'll just have some time for you to practice it by yourself with that backing track.